The solid thud the door makes against the doorframe sounds out a final call for the life I've led since coming to Yamaku. I just stand in my darkened room, fruitlessly attempting to work out what I should do from this point onwards. Just what should I do? As class ends, I simply rest my head on my hand and stare out of the window to pass the time. It's been a few days since Lilly told me her plans. I haven't been to ordinary lunchtime haunts since then, not that there would be much point. Hanako's been busy with the newspaper club she's newly joined and has even begun talking class with Naomi every now and then. Even Lilly, aside from the fact that a meeting between us would have been awkward in any case, has been run off her feet with class representative duties as the summer holidays approach. And now they're just about here. With the end of today's bell, the summer holidays will have begun. I suppose all I'll end up doing will be visiting my parents for the duration and lazing about my old home now that my previous plans are entirely askew. Meanwhile, Akira and Lilly will be en route to Scotland to live out the rest of their lives there. No matter how hard I try to rationalize the idea that once the summer holidays begin, my life will return to the way it was, it simply refuses to happen. Everyone's moving on with their lives. Lily's rejoining her family, Akira's moving up in her father's business, Hanako's gaining new friends and hobbies, and even Yuko's moving ahead with her university aspirations. Even I'm moving forward in the end. With the grades I've gotten so far in Yamaku, much less after such a rocky beginning, the path to getting into teaching science as a career seems straightforward. I suppose I should at least be happy about that much, but it doesn't really seem to help. Hee-chan! I quickly stopped my ruminating and turned to face the bubbly voice beside me, putting on the most upbeat expression I can muster. As expected, Shizune stands flanking her. I have a sneaking suspicion they want something from me. Hey, Misha. Shizune. What's up? Well, Shi-chan and I were thinking, since we're just two poor little girls that need help with all the work we've been given just before the holidays begin. Sure, I can help. But Hee-chan, we really need... What? I think I broke Misha. Even Shizune raises an eyebrow at her accomplice's shuddering stop in her tracks. So, you'll help us, Hee-chan? I just said I would, didn't I? It's hardly like I have anything better to do. Maybe helping them with their work will help take my mind off the situation. Misha seems genuinely ecstatic with my response, but Shizune's expression is clouded and difficult to read. I find myself quickly averting my eyes from her own as it almost looks like a face of pity. No doubt it must just be my imagination. This is hardly the first time I've been in the student council room. Indeed, I've found myself down here quite often, either to help Lilly with her class rep work or to sort out one thing or another with the student council itself. Now, though, it's quite a different place. Papers and folders are strewn across every table in the room, only a solitary little black laptop atop a single desk sticking out from the mess. It looks positively ancient, and I'd guess it's been valiantly serving its task and archiving information for years and years. So what needs doing, I ask. This looks like a lot to do. Shizune signs. Her expression becomes determined as she does so. It's a worrying look. Everything, Hichan. My worry was well placed. Everything, you say? She signs some more. What's left on the desks is what needs to be done. It all needs to be digitally recorded, which is what the laptop is for. And I'm guessing that I'll be the one doing this? Shi-chan says she saw you with the computers in the library a few days ago, and that you seemed really good with them. Good with computers? I can touch type, I guess, but it still seems like an overestimation of my skills. I was just typing up homework, I say. Wait, Shizune was watching me do that? She signs. One must know their allies before they can know their enemies, of course. Wow, that's pretty wise. For once, it's not very hard to work out who said what. Nonetheless, it doesn't seem worth fighting over. Sitting at a computer doing some typing hardly seems onerous, as far as tasks to help Shizune and Misha go. She continues signing. Besides, it will help take your mind off things. Take my mind off things, I ask. Take my mind off what things? Misha's face goes blank as she translates this for Shizune, though the latter's response is only to glance away toward the windows after briefly signing. Misha's face quickly returns to a smile as she translates back. She was confused, I guess, but Shizune is harder to pin down. I was just thinking you might like to get your mind off the exams, of course. Either way, I answer, we may as well get into it sooner rather than later. I'll go along with you. That's the spirit, Hichan. And that's the 5th spreadsheet compiled and saved. Time for the next month's. After a little bit of fussing around, we all managed to get a bit more organized. Shizune's been gathering up the loose sheets and, thankfully, sorting them into a neat pile next to me. Meanwhile, Misha's been handling the manual writing work, her girly pink pen leaving its unmistakable mark on paper after paper. Once I got myself into a rhythm, this really wasn't so bad. Shizune and Misha also seem to be in the swing of things, wordlessly communicating as they go about their business with fervor. I periodically glance at the sheet beside the laptop, apparently a list of student names and matching addresses, as I dutifully enter the data written on it. I don't pay a lot of attention to what I'm typing in until I reach about midway down the page. Hakamichi, Class 3-3. Huh. Her family home's in Saitama. My idle curiosity is ended abruptly as 3 light taps can be heard rapping on the door. Misha quickly skips over to check who it is, tapping Shizune's shoulder on the way past to let her companion know what's happening. Ah, you're here! Who is it, I ask. With a slight pause to enter Shizune's data into the file along with all the others, I look up to check who's at the door. Lilly? After giving a cursory nod to Misha in greeting, she perks her head up in her trademark manner. Is that Hisao? She says. She's pretty darn good at working out my voice from the smallest of phrases nowadays. Yeah, it's me. Hey. The atmosphere feels slightly awkward as she bows. Neither of us knows quite how intimate we should be around each other. given that she's leaving in just a matter of hours. This is a fact that, thankfully, neither the oblivious Misha nor the hard-working Shizune pick up on. So, you've got work to do as well, I ask. Unfortunately, I arrived as soon as I could, but my class held me up with a surprise farewell party, and I had to get changed. I glance down at the laptop's clock. It's pretty much the end of lunchtime, so I'm guessing Lilly managed to wrangle the last period off as well. I take it Shizune is here as well, she asks. Shizune signs. Of course! She continues. And I've been here during all of lunchtime as well. That last comment was really not needed. Shizune's baiting Lilly into another argument. I can feel it. I'm sorry I can't be as hard-working as you, Shizune. I'll endeavor to hire more lackeys to do my work in the future, I assure you. And Lilly just took the bait, escalating things further. But aren't you the one always outsourcing work to your classmates? The difference, Lilly says, is that they choose to help, unlike your tyrannical grip on your own class. Shizune signs. Tyranny works. Even if we did things differently, we still got the same results, right? This is a school, not a police state, Lilly answers. You will have to remind me when we were appointed class monarch, I'm afraid. You have to seize power. It's not as good if it's just handed to you. But I guess you really wouldn't understand that, right? She continues signing. You'll also have to remind me when monarchs were elected into their positions. Lilly positively bristles at this. Shizune's two-hit combo forces her onto defense. Yet, for all your vaunted power, she says, you cannot get one person to help you without forcing him. She continues signing. But Hisao volunteered. He's such a hard worker. He's doing this instead of meaningless socialization, right? Is that so, Hisao? Lilly asks. Ah, this is bad. I've really ended up between a rock and a hard place. As much as it may pain me to do this, the truth has at least a chance of stopping this argument here and now. It's okay, Lilly. They didn't harass me to come or anything. Lilly gives me a disapproving grimace, silently radiating her strong feelings of displeasure in my general direction. She can be quite scary when she wants to be, though thankfully that isn't often. Shizune signs. Hee-chan, you make that sound like it's a regular occurrence. It isn't, I ask. In the end, it doesn't matter so long as everything's getting done at a good pace. Let's just get this work over with so we can go home. Shizune snorts derisively and gets back to marking off the sheet in front of her, while Lilly sighs and finds her way along the room with her hand following the filing cabinets lined along the wall. This would mark the only time I've managed to successfully defuse one of these situations, but the grudging ceasefire built around mutual fear and respect makes this feel more like the Cold War than any real peace. I can't take all the credit, though. Lilly's leaving has surely affected Shizune to some extent to make her give up so easily. Moments before getting back to work, I noticed Lilly reaching up to grab something from above a filing cabinet. I almost offer to help, but her height gives her ample ability to take it down safely. Once she sets the strangely shaped device on the desk beside me, I realize just what it is. Sort of. as she takes the old green covering off and sits down. At first glance, it seems to be an old metallic blue typewriter, but it doesn't take me long to realize it's far from ordinary. It has far fewer keys than expected, and those it has show no lettering printed on them. Only the shadows cast by the tiny braille dots on them gives a hint to the thing's purpose. Blind typewriter, I ask? Oh, this? Lilly answers. Well, you're not far off. It's normally called a Perkins Brailler, but it's basically a typewriter for the blind, yes. It presses braille into the page rather than text, which is why it has fewer keys. Huh, I say. That's really neat. She gives a light-hearted grin at my curiosity over it. I have to admit that it appeals to my sense of novelty. Without further ado, we each get back to our allotted tasks. The loud clunking of the mechanics and Lilly's brailler and the tapping of the laptop's old and weary keyboard quickly fill the room. It's a nice atmosphere, really. Everyone knows what they have to do, and Lilly and I get to sit beside each other and exchange the odd word as we work along. Nostalgic. That's what it feels like. It's pleasant, but just slightly stained with the knowledge that our time together is nearing its end. Excuse me, Misha? To properly address her, Misha bounces over from the filing cabinet she's peering into, in spite of Lilly's lack of sight. For a moment I think it's strange, but then realize it's exactly what I do. What's up? Could you ask Shizune where the attendance records for Class 3-2 are? I think they've been moved. Okie dokie. And with that, she flitters off to Shizune, who's working at a table behind us. Lilly's familiarity with the council room and the efficiency with which she works remind me that she, Misha, and Shizune used to all work together in the student council. Maybe this is a fitting in for her stay at Yamaku, working away just like she used to, surrounded by those she loves and at least liked. I look up, getting taken off guard by Shizune sorting through a drawer rather than Misha. Sure enough, she plucks out a manila folder, entirely blank save for the just barely visible bumps on its front, and holds it in front of Lilly. Lilly's hand flits over to check what it is, her fingers feeling out the dots of braille and confirming it's what she asked for. Thank you, Misha. No reply. No reply, that is, save for a odd grin. No smile on Shizune's face. A couple of seconds pass before Lilly clicks that it isn't Misha behind her, but Shizune. Her momentary look of surprise is replaced by a slightly bashful smile. For a few moments, the room is all but still and silent. Eventually, though, Shizune strides back to her workstation, and Lilly begins typing once more. It only lasted a handful of seconds in all, but it feels like years of communication were made up for in that one silent exchange. There. Finished, I say. I lean my head back and rub my eyes to try and work away their weariness. Staring at that small and rather poor screen has taken its toll. Excellent timing. The only thing left is to file these away, and I'll have my workload finished as well. Good, I tell her. I can pack up the brailler and put it away while you do that. Thank you, Hisao. Misha, are you and Shizune far from being done? I ask. I look around for the two as I replace the cover over the brailer, only to see them waiting at the door. I guess they must be waiting for us. With a minimum of wasted time, we file and pack up everything that remains and join them. Thanks for waiting, you two. We couldn't just take off without you, Hee-chan. You've been a great help. Shizune nods approvingly, pleased with my efforts. I guess that's the last class representative work done and over with then. That's right, Lilly replies. I'll miss you, Lilly. I think it was fun working with you. Thank you, Misha. It's been good working with you. And Shizune. Shizune thinks for a moment before formulating her response. It's not that she often communicates without thinking, quite the opposite. But this time it's even more considered than usual. Misha looks a little surprised before passing on the message. Shizune says, you better do your work over there better than you did it here. Far from taking offense, Lilly giggles into her hand. If that's the case, then please tell Shizune to give those still here a little more understanding in the future. Competitive until the last. Maybe Shizune and Lilly aren't so different after all. Shizune signs. Shi-chan says that she'll be checking to make sure you live up to your end of the promise. Then that's how it will be, Lilly answers. I'd better be off then. Goodbye, Shizune. Goodbye, Misha. Hisao. Lilly takes a hold of my arm in hers, there being no need for a cane if I'm here to guide her. With a nod of farewell to the two, we set off out the door and make our way to the school grounds. As I turn to wave goodbye to them, I notice Shizune's gaze lingering on Lilly. They may annoy each other, but family bonds aren't easily broken. So several days have gone by since our last date and the confession at the Shanghai that Lilly was leaving to go to Scotland for the rest of her life. We're sitting in there, and the student council comes by to see us and ask if we can go and work for them, possibly and probably to help them with the huge mountain of work that they have, but also, as Shizune says, to take our mind off of things. And I love the fact, yes, I did insert the record scratch there. I think they should have put one in there themselves, where they're sitting there and Misha is totally knocked off track as she's like, I think I broke Misha, without them having to argue Hisao into going and helping them. Lilly, of course, shows up as she's got the final student council work of her own to finish up, and she and Shizune have a little bit of a sparring there before she sits down next to Hisao and starts working on her paperwork. And I had to look this device up. Fascinating device. We get to see what she called it, a Perkins Brailer, I think is what she said. Fascinating device. I'd always wondered how Braille was done. I was thinking it was perhaps done on a standard typewriter or something that just printed the Braille, punched the dots for the Braille instead of printing things. I didn't think about it being a device that was basically as simple as this, I guess you could say, being that there's only 6 keys, in a Braille alphabet system. There's only 6 locations that the dots can be. So you've got those 6 keys there, the 3 on each side, that correspond to where the dots can be. So you press down a combination of the keys to put the dots where you want them. And you have the buttons on the sides which move you forward and back, and a space button, and it's a very, simple yet elegant machine there. I really love it. And even with the situation of Lily leaving, is enough that even Shizune comes to realize that blood is thicker than water, and no matter what their personal animosities and issues may be with the student council and all, even she seems to hand out a laurel branch there, send out the peace doves to kind of make up for the problems they've had over the last year or two, however long it's been since they split up on the council, and say that, I recognize that you're my cousin, and I'm going to miss you. So let's kind of keep it on a friendly taunting from here on out. Finally, the day is over. A very long day, as late afternoon is coming through the windows there, and it is time to leave. So Lily actually comes over and takes our arm, and we have a brief moment here where it's almost like we were dating again. And we lead her out of the room as Misha and Shizune watch us leave, and as I say, realize that family bonds aren't easily broken. Something that we have to remember with Lily and her case with her parents as well, and Akira. I did think that it was going to be one more episode, I said, and actually I sat down and recorded the whole thing from where we started here to the very end of it. And yeah, I'm thinking there's going to be about 3 more episodes. I underestimated tremendously how much of the story was left here. I was thinking previously, the first time I played through it, as we've said, Lily has a good ending and what they call the neutral ending. It really isn't what they consider a bad ending, per se, but they call it the good ending and the neutral ending, just the two. And I was still thinking mostly toward the neutral ending, which tends to be a bit shorter. It's a good deal shorter than how long the good ending lasts. So yeah, I'm looking at probably 2 more episodes, possibly a third. We'll see how it goes. So we will see you tomorrow, and we will see where our escorting Lily back to the dorms leads us.